Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of RSC Revisited. You might have noticed I'm starting a new character here. As I mentioned at the end of the last video, this episode is the beginning of my journey to achieve the Legends Cape at the lowest possible combat level. Now it might be possible to go a little lower, but I've done some pretty thorough research and planning, and I think to get any lower than I'm aiming for, you'd have to look at finding some new tricks or bugs to exploit. Low level Legends is something I've always wanted to do, partly because the Legends Cape looks really damn cool in an RSC. Actually, I guess many people watching this won't have seen the character creation screen before. I think in RS3 you can probably style your fucking eyebrows by now, but in RSC it's a lot simpler. As you can see, there's only really a few choices you can make. Just trying to settle on a snazzy outfit that I can wear while I set about on my questing, and I think we have found it. Okay, let's get into it. Now, I was immediately surprised when I started this account because I ended up in Lumbridge. I was expecting to end up on Tutorial Island and have to do some sort of maneuvers to avoid having to kill the rat and get some combat experience. But I ended up in Lumbridge. I think it's because this is a very old account. I deliberately used an old account so I wouldn't have to log in with an email. So I think I made this account over 10 years ago and it potentially has logged into Classic in the past. So this is a huge bonus for me at the start. I haven't got to do anything. I haven't got to get my fatigue up to avoid taking the combat experience before I get there. So this saved me a lot of time with Tutorial Island, which is good. I'm not sure actually if there's an option to skip now. But anyway, now that I'm in Lumbridge, I'm just panicking, just trying to get my fatigue to 100 as quick as possible. It's because I don't want to take any XP from accidentally clicking on a man and attacking him, which I'm likely to do, as I really don't trust myself. So my first instinct was to go over to these trees and start chopping, start getting that fatigue up. So after I recovered from the shock of arriving straight in Lumbridge and got my shit together, I traded over some supplies from my main Guario and got to work. Just to be clear, I'm not setting out to make a guide for how you can do Legends at a low level if it's your first Classic account. What I'm going for is the absolute lowest possible, so this is going to require some help from my main account in terms of supplies and maybe support with a few of the quests, maybe help me through a dungeon at some point. So the first item in my plan is to train magic, so I've stocked up on the runes. Fortunately this is one of the fastest skills in RSC, so it won't take me long to get started. This is one of the combat skills where the quest XP rewards won't get me anywhere close to the level required for completion of all quests, because I need 56 to boost to 59 to do Family Crest, and so it's perfectly safe for me to get a decent mage level, and with that I'll be able to take on the quest bosses and get things moving towards the Legends Cape. Right now we're watching me do pretty much all of 1 to 50 magic in 800% speed, so I have a minute to explain a few things. In Classic, the quest rewards are all or almost all formula based, and they scale with your level, with each quest using different formulas, so this means that the order that you choose to do them in determines the levels that you end up with from the XP rewards. So minimizing your combat stats by the time you complete Legends is a harder and more interesting problem than in the later versions of the game. I think it will make for a much more interesting video if I just jump straight into the action, but if you stay tuned I will run through my plan and how I've come up with it towards the end of the episode for anyone who's interested. Another thing you probably noticed throughout these clips is that every so often I have to use a sleeping bag in my inv to sleep. So there's a fatigue system in Classic, which I've mentioned already, where you gain fatigue every time you gain XP. When you reach 100% fatigue, you can't gain any more XP or perform certain actions such as mine a rock unless you sleep. To wake up you have to enter one of those like recapture type words with the funky letters to prove that you're not a bot, like you see on some websites. So this was added as an anti-macroing measure, but it's been irrelevant for a long time because bots are able to read and enter the sleep words with quite a high success rate. In any case, this mechanic's actually going to work to our advantage because we can go chop trees or something to reach 100% fatigue before tackling a quest, and this will prevent us getting any unwanted experience from the fighting and keep those combat stats down. It's also safe for me to start trading prayer, so you can see me here receiving a donation of some dragon bones from my main. I need level 40 so I can use the monastery to boost to level 42 for Legends, and the quest rewards won't get me anywhere near, so it's perfectly safe for me to train to level 37, which I'll be needing to fight my way through the quests. If you're not familiar with Classic, you might be thinking, why 37? Well, at 37 I can use the Paralyzed Monster Prayer, which is the equivalent of Protect from Melee, in the later games, and will keep me alive while I try to beat the bosses and make my way through the dungeons with a very low HP level. So this is the last inventory of bones before we reach the prayer level that we're going to need to go out questing. Here's the last bone, so we should now be 37 prayer. So we're able to use the Paralyzed Monster prayer, which is going to save us when we go through these quests. So we've got 50 magic, 37 prayer at 14 combat, and it's time to go do some quests. Firstly, we have to get ourselves down to Lumbridge Forest to get 100% fatigue, so we won't take any combat experience. You can see it says you're too tired to cut the tree. So now we won't take any experience while we're fighting during a quest. Okay, so let's get to the first quest, which is Fight Arena. So here I am starting the quest, speaking to Lady Serval by the Fight Arena for friggin' ages. She's going on about her son and her husband who have been kidnapped. Gonna go get the armor from up in the cupboard, which looks sweet on RuneScape Classic. I love the way the chain and the med look. I thought I'd leave all the footage of this in here at like super speed because it's a really short quest, and I think it's kind of fun to see what the quest looks like and how it's different in Classic. So what have we got to do? I think we're going to go get a brew, Carly Brew, a beer from the guard now, from the pub, which is over the opposite side over here. So I think they give us one free of charge because we are supposedly a Khazad soldier. So I'm going to go back in this side, go up to the guard, give him the brew, get hold of the key, go back, speak to Jeremy Serval. The guard's going on a bit. There we go, now he's asleep. We've got the key, we're going to go speak to Jeremy Serval. Okay, we've set him free. Now I really got caught out here because I was not expecting this guard to attack me, so I wasn't ready at all to get the Paralyzed Monster on, so you can see I took some damage. Then I got a bit confused because he didn't have an attack option, so eventually I realised I could just walk away from that fight, get in here. So now we're on to the main boss fights. I've got my Paralyzed Monster on, taking out the Ogre, just casting my Firebolts, trying to get through it. You can see the messages coming up there that we're too tired to gain experience and we should rest, which means that our 100% fatigue is working and stopping us from getting any combat XP from the fight. Now we're back in the cell talking to Hengrad, whatever his name is. Got to fight the Scorpion next. I think it was about this time I realised that I could equip my wizards stuff that I had with me, and I didn't need to have this Khazad stuff on anymore. I should realise any moment now. But yeah, just there we go. So we're just casting the spells at the bouncer. I almost called it a wolf. Stepping off every so often to sip a prayer potion, which I think is going to be a recurring theme throughout this series. We're going to be sipping a lot of these prayer pots because we're never really expecting to get high enough HP to really fight many of these fights without prayer on all the time. So we've beat General Khazad. We're heading back out to go speak to Lady Serval and complete the quest. She's very happy. She kindly gives us 1,000 gold coins and, more importantly, 2 quest points. So we're on the way to the 107 that we need, and we've gained 3 attack levels and 3 thieving levels. So with 4 attack we're still level 14 combat, which is good. Keeping it nice and low, and we can move on to complete the next quest. The next quest is going to be Grunt Tree, so we've headed up to the Grunt Tree because we need to do some agility training. There's a requirement of 25 agility. Now I didn't realise, but these gnome guards are aggressive. I thought I'd fucked up and clicked on him, but he caught me out there, so I shit myself a bit, got the Paralyzed Monster prayer on, but I don't think they can really hit significant numbers, so we got away okay. So we're here because we've got to head over to the gnome agility course to start training up our agility. For some reason I'm going to... so I'll be going to the bank to get hold of my sleeping bag. We're at 100% fatigue while we completed the quest, so we need to get this out. Make sure we're in a safe place where none of these gnome guards are going to attack us, and then so we don't take any combat XP if we're not 100% fatigue, and then start walking over this slippery log. And you see it said there you're too tired to train, so we literally can't get around the course. Right, so it's time to start agility. I'll get on with this, and I'll check back in with you guys fairly soon.
6.5 hours later.
Eventually we got 25 agility, and it was time to do the bar crawl so that we can get access to the barbarian agility course and do the low wall, which is really good XP. So first we had to get 100% fatigue again, so make sure we don't take any XP on the way around. Here we are talking to the barbarian and getting our card, dropping some of the logs that we had to cut to get the fatigue. First stop is Varrock. I've left this in here because I think it's pretty cool for you to I guess a lot of people who watch this are being careful of the mugger there. Haven't seen a lot of RSC, so I thought we'd take a look around. I'm walking all over the place doing the bar crawl. Is a good chance for me to show you some of the world. We're getting our first glimpse of the wilderness here. It's just stepping into level 1. There's no ditch, of course, back in the day. This is long before the wilderness ditch existed. On into Falador, getting our card signed there. Next we're going to head over to the Rusty Anchor in Port Sarim, which is over here, and get our card signed here. Then we'll be on to get the boat to Karamja to look for the dead man's chest. In Brimhaven there are 2 pubs, and I always check out the wrong one first. So it's the second one, which is further away from the gate there, that you need to go to. So here we are, getting our card signed. After this, we should just be straight on over to Camelot to go to the last pub. And when we've got this signed, we're gonna stop off on at this cute little church in Sears Village. I know the graphics in RSC are pretty basic, but I've always been a huge fan of these windows in the church. Like, let's enhance. They've got like little Sarah swords in them, even though Sarah swords didn't exist yet. I just think this is a really nice looking place. So we stopped off here to replenish our prayer. Then we're going to head back and finish the bar crawl by talking to the barbarian. So now we have access to the barbarian agility course, and we can go through the low wall. We're too tired to get through the pipe here, so we have to sleep, which is fine because we need to be able to train anyway. We got the sleep word holiness. Maybe this is Saradamon talking to us, sending us a message for going to pray in his church. So the reason we wanted to get in here is not necessarily to complete the whole course, because when you start out, it's actually better XP to just come and spam click this wall. So this is a common training method, and as you can imagine, this is quite easy to macro as well, because you can do this with an auto clicker if you line it up right. But of course, you've got to take care of the sleeping. Not that I advocate any of these activities. I'm just documenting this for historical purposes.
Tomorrow.
One of the things that's going to be the hardest on this account is going through the underground pass with basically no HP and a limited supply of prayer potions. And so one of the ways that I can make this easier is by getting as high an agility level as possible. So I spent quite a long time at the low wall trying to grind out some levels in advance. I want to get this much higher, but we spent a while here and eventually got to 44 agility, which is a great start. We're definitely going to get this higher, but this is all I could really stomach for now. So let's move on to the next quest. Next quest is Grunt Tree. So here we are at the Grunt Tree, ready to start Grunt Tree by speaking to King Nono Shireen, who doesn't know how to spell his own name, spells it with an M on the end. He tells us a bunch of shit about the tree, sends us out to find Hazelmere, who's a crazy guy who lives on a little kind of peninsula island thing. Yeah, it's an island, just south of Ardahan, by the fight arena where we were earlier. So we're fighting our way through these cool looking jungle spiders, using the paralysed monster to make sure that we don't die, which we definitely would if we hadn't got it yet. Managed to close the door, talk to Hazelmere, who tells us this gibberish, and then we have to go back, Camelot teleport. We're going to go to our favourite church to restore our prayer. Maybe Saradamon will make contact with us again, and then head back to the king and see what he makes of, just checking the guide there, see what he makes of our message. He's going to send us out to speak to Gluff or Glow, however you want to pronounce it. We're wise to the tricks of these aggressive gnome guards now, so we're ready to whack on the protect familiar, paralyzed monster prayer. Then I spent a while getting really lost in the Grunt Tree. It's got a really confusing layout. In Classic, it's a real pain. Like I couldn't see shit. You come up here, the doors are like hidden in, like, can you see a door there? I could not see a door. I spent ages walking around the Grunt Tree trying to find how to get up to the upper level. Literally about 20 minutes, which I've cut out. So eventually we made it up to the top. Speak to Charlie. I think you know the rest of this quest, so I'm just going to cut to the action. Eventually we got locked up by our best friend, spoke to Charlie, managed to get out, went to get the glider over to Karamja. This has this hilarious animation that's just flashed up. Made our way past these huge green men, which are joggers. Using the paralysed monster so we don't take any damage here. Fortunately jungle spiders don't poison you, so wasn't much danger. and trying to get to the gate and get into conversation with this this guard so that we can start to answer his questions. But then something strange happened. What the hell? So eventually when the jungle spider let us through the gate, when we gave him the password, it spent a while getting lost on the docks trying to find the shipyard foreman, because he was in this hut over here but I couldn't get in. Realised you got to go find him on the docks, and then he kind of takes you back to his place, talks you through some stuff. He did a bunch of running around, and I skipped ahead. Eventually we were ready to go climb up the watchtower and put these what is the 2 Zo stones in, or sticks in the later games. But it said that we're too tired to go up the tower. Now this is a big problem because we need to get up here to fight the demon, but we don't want to get any combat experience from fighting the demon, so I had to figure out a way to deal with this. The problem is that we need to be at 100% fatigue while we fight the demon so that we don't take any combat XP, so I needed to sleep, go up the ladder and do something that would give me XP in some non-combat skill to give me fatigue again, back to 100 before I fight the demon. So I went on my main, went to Hickton's archery store and bought some bronze arrowheads, which you can make bronze from level 1, I think. So the idea was that I was going to get these, hop around all the world, grab some arrowheads, trade them over with some headless arrows, climb up the ladder, fletch some arrows, and then I'd be able to fight the demon without taking any XP. As you'll see, what actually ended up happening was that when I got up there and put all the stones in place, I was too excited and psyched about fighting the demon to remember to get my 100% fatigue back, but I had got up to 99% before I went up, and so it turned out that even though my first few casts gave me some magic experience, after the first few casts I was back up to 100% fatigue, and so I didn't end up gaining any HP experience, which is awarded at the end of the fight. In Classic, so I could have fucked up really badly here and got myself some HP XP, but fortunately my mistake wasn't too badly punished. So obviously I've sped this up to kind of hyper speed. We're just casting the firebolt at the demon, and eventually he went down. It went well. And the only thing left to do was to go and fight our way through these giant bats, speak to the king, find the Draconia rocks, and then we're ready to complete the quest. So after a truly inspiring speech by the player character, we're awarded with 2 agility levels, which is excellent news, 9 attack levels and 5 quest points. So we got exactly 1975 attack XP, which is what we were expecting from the formulas. We're up to combat level 17 now, and it's time to move on to the next quest. Before we do that, we're just going to take a look at a bit of Runescape history. If you go into Gluff's house, on the table there's an item called Warship. Now this was discontinued after RSC, so in the current game, in RS3, this is the rarest item. You can forget about your party hats, like they don't even come close. The only warships that exist in the game are those that were transferred over from RuneScape Classic accounts when RS2 was released. So there are very few of these left in the game. So the third quest on my list, and the final quest of this episode, is Waterfall. So here we are, boarding the raft, going over the waterfall for the first time, falling down the waterfall, which will prove to be some fun later. Now we've gone to get the pebble, so we're in the maze. So the main challenge, I expected the main challenge of this quest to be to kind of battle through the densely populated monsters in the dungeons, because in RSC, as you can probably tell from this clip, although I've sped it up, you can't walk through enemies, you get stuck. You can walk into the same square as them if you attack them, but obviously then you've got to stay in combat for three exchanges of blows. So it can really wear down the prayer potion supplies getting through them in this way. But eventually we made it through to speak to Golry, or I always thought his name was Glory for some reason, but we made it through to Golry and got the pebble, and we're ready to move on to the next part of the quest, in which we are supposed to get hold of Glariel's amulet. So here I am using the pebble on the gravestone to get down into the tomb, or whatever you want to call it. We haven't we're not able to take in any mage gear to help us through here, so I'm just relying on the prayer, just trying to pick my way through these as best as I can. Trying to step around the zombies. This is pretty annoying, to be honest, but I think this is going to be a recurring theme as we try to move through the quests. So this wasn't too bad. With the prayer it's pretty easy. Made it over there, got hold of the amulet, and we're ready to move on. So by this stage I was thinking, oh sweet, like the quest's almost done, all I've got to do is go down this waterfall, use the amulet on, get past the fire giants, use the amulet on a statue, use the urn on the chalice, and then we're done. That wasn't to be the case. This was really the start of the troubles. You can see early signs of what's going to happen here. There was a clue in the wiki where it says your strength level may affect your success rate with these trees, tying the rope to the tree to get down the waterfall. So the order that we did these quests in means that our strength level is currently 1. So this didn't really go too well for me, so I've included a short montage of all my failed attempts. I had an idea. I failed this again, so I thought, what if I can boost my strength just a few levels? It might make a huge difference. So I got my main to trade over some super strength potions, went at it again, and I'll include a quick montage of the results of that. I can't stress enough how long I tried this for. Like I was here for a few hours. It looks real fast to you guys. I'm playing this at 8,000% speed, but it takes so long every time you try this. But eventually I had a bit of a breakthrough. This happened. So at this point I decided to change my tactic. Now I need to get a higher strength level in order to tackle this, and I do actually need to get up to 40 strength so I can boost with super strength to 50 to move the boulder in Legends. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do fatigue training on strength. So this is a way unique to RuneScape Classic where you can get strength or attack or defense XP without training your hit points. Now because the hit points is awarded after the strength XP. So the trick is that you get your fatigue up to a level, like 99 point something percent, where killing the monster, you're getting the strength XP is going to tip you over 100%. So you'll see there that I got strength XP without raising my hit points from the 1000 XP that they started at. So I did this for a long time. This takes hours. It's very, very slow. You're lucky to get a few 1000 XP an hour. That's really like where it peaks, at least on these goblins at this low level. But you can see eventually, without getting any hit points XP, I managed to get to level 10 strength.
2,000 years later.
And eventually, in what might be the only clip at normal speed in this whole video, because I tried to squeeze so much in, we're up to our last goblin to get us up to level 14 strength, and managed to keep the 1000 hits XP, which is excellent. Great news. So we're still on track with the plan. Nothing has gone seriously wrong yet, and we're ready to go back to the waterfall and try and get down it again. So I got pumped up, got back to the waterfall, got to the very end of it the first try, and then of course fell again. Eventually though we did make it down. It only took about 5 minutes of trying this time. So I did a little celebration. I'm stocked up on plenty of prayer potions because I know that these blessed spiders, is it they're called, drain half your prayer every time they hit you, or at least maybe every time they initiate combat with you in Classic. So here you see me say, oh my god, because I'm wondering how I'm going to make my way through this absolute clusterfuck of level 50, what is it? Well, high level skeletons anyway. To be honest, the skeletons are annoying to navigate through, but it's these that are going to kill me off. You see I got down to 11 prey points there, but I actually managed to get quite lucky getting through the spiders. Only really got attacked by them once or twice. So we've made it through the wall, just trying to get through this last little passageway now. We're already past the fire giants and into the room where we will hopefully be able to complete the quest. So this part of the quest is just the same as it is in the newer games. Well, I haven't really played RuneScape 3 to be honest, but it's the same as in old school. You just put your 6 runes of each type on these pillars, use the amulet on the statue, use the chalice, use the urn on the chalice, and then we have finally completed the Waterfall quest. after being washed down that river countless times. So we've been awarded the quest points, 7 strength levels and 8 attack levels. That puts us at 21 attack with 5150 XP, which is exactly what we were expecting from the formulas and according to the plan. So that's brilliant. Bit closer to the strength goal of 40. We've still got much more rewards to come from that, so we shouldn't have to fatigue all that much. We're now at combat level 24, I believe. Yep, 24. So that's the questing done for this episode. This has turned out to be a much longer video than I had intended, but as promised, I'm going to quickly talk about my plan. So I want to be as low combat level as possible when I complete Legends, and as we know, combat level depends on attack, defense, strength, hits, ranged, magic, and prayer. So there are 2 things to consider here, quests that require certain levels in these skills to complete, and quests that give XP rewards in these skills when completed. As I explained at the start of the video, I'll need a minimum of 56 magic and 40 prayer to beat all the required quests, and the quest rewards don't really put a dent in this, so these skills can be put aside and we don't really have to worry about them. The same is true for strength. I need at least level 40, and even after all the XP rewards, I'll have to do some fatigue training to reach this requirement and keep my HP down. There's a similar story with ranged. We need 25 to do Underground Pass, which we won't exceed from the available XP rewards. But the minimum attack and strength levels we'll end up with mean that this 25 ranged makes no difference to our combat level anyway. So this leaves attack, defense, and hits. For hits, which is what hit points is called in RSC, there are only Witch's House and Hero's Quest giving XP rewards, so it's really easy if you know the formulas to just start at 1000 XP in level 10 and apply them both ways round to try and figure out which you should do first. With defense, we've got 3 quests. There's Dragon Slayer, Heroes, and Holy Grail. But because Dragon Slayer must be done before Heroes, there are only really 3 orders that you can do the quests in, and again, it's easy to work out the best one. The biggest puzzle is the attack level. So there are 7 quests giving attack XP, none of which are prerequisites for each other, which means that there are 7 factorial or 5040 different orders in which you could potentially do them. So this is really time consuming to try for a human, but fortunately this is the kind of problem computers are really good at, so I wrote something which tries every possible order and outputs the paths giving the lowest attack XP. Anyway, that's enough nerdy stuff. I had planned to give a full list of the quests and the order in which I'm going to complete them here, at least the ones that give combat experience, but this has been such a long episode already that I think I should save it maybe for the next episode, or just give like an immediate forecast of what's coming up as I go along. So I can tell you that next episode, the next quest that will give us some combat stats is going to be the Holy Grail, which is next up. I've got to do Malin's Crystal and possibly some other shit before that, but next episode you're likely to see number 4 on the unsafe quest list is Holy Grail. Number 5 is Dragon Slayer, which will be interesting. Number 6 is Hero's Quest. So obviously Dragon Slayer needs 32 quest points. Hero's Quest needs 55, I think it is. Before I even get to Dragon Slayer, there's a bunch of quest points that I need to pick up somewhere. There's probably going to be some skilling involved. So I think next episode you're definitely likely to see Malin's Crystal and Holy Grail out the way. So we'll increase our combat level a little bit there. And then we'll be looking at getting the pre-requirements, get those quest points for Dragon Slayer, maybe make a start on Dragon Slayer, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this extra long episode. I know I enjoy making them. One thing I want to say is that many people don't realise that RuneScape Classic is open at the moment. A lot of people probably watch these videos and think, well, a lot of people don't watch them, but the people who do watch them may think, oh, I wish I had an account with Classic Access. Well, you do. Any member's account can log into Classic at the moment, so if you want to give it a try, just log straight in. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.